Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. Jeff Johnson, our resident integration expert at GUIDEcx, is here with us today to walk through the GUIDEcx and HubSpot integration, including how you can set it up, how to customize it, and what you can do to make it better work for your organization.
All right. Well, thank you, Stacy. Okay. Well, today I'm going to talk about different ways that you can integrate GUIDEcx and HubSpot. And there's a lot of flexibility in what you can do as far as syncing of data and triggering actions on one side based on events on the other. So I'm going to show some examples of things that we've commonly set up for customers. So what are a few of the things you could do? Well, one way to think about, in general, integrating GUIDEcx and HubSpot is the integration has two main components. So the first part would be automatic project creation. So like you have a deal in HubSpot, it moves to close one, and then we automate the project being created. And so the details there would be things like automatically selecting the templates, automatically selecting who the project manager should be. So we could read fields off of the deal, for example, and say, let's say that it's the deal has a property of like the customer tier. And if it's an enterprise account, then you want to add template one to the project. If it's a small, medium business account, then you want to add templates 2 and 3, that kind of thing. So we can read any of the fields off of the company, the deal, the line item products, and then use it to make decisions. So a recipe can create the project, choose the templates, choose the project manager, and even do things like automatically assign tasks. So I'll show how you could have a field, say for CSM, like Customer Success Manager and TAM, Technical Account Manager. You'd have those fields on your company in HubSpot, and those are users in your organization. And we will read those fields and assign those tasks automatically so that you don't have to. Other things we can do is pull values out of HubSpot and send them to custom fields in GUIDEcx, like, oh, let's pull the amount off the deal, send that to a custom field in GUIDEcx. Or let's pull who's the account owner of the company and put that in a custom field in GUIDEcx. And then also you can automatically invite your customers to the project. And there's a couple of ways to do that in HubSpot. You can have contacts on the deal, and we can read those, or you can be more selective, and I'll show how you can do that with a HubSpot feature called association labels. You could send a Slack message out when the project's created so that the team knows a new project is ready to go. So that's the first part of the integration. It's automating all the things you normally would do to create a project, or pick the templates, assign the tasks, bulk edit, things like that. If you can write all that down on a sheet of paper, then we can probably automate it. So the second part is syncing of status information back to HubSpot. And there's syncing of the custom fields and syncing of the standard fields. So I'll show a few examples about how we can go about syncing data back and even updating the project afterwards. So let me start off and show the template I'm going to use in this demo. So here is a representative's onboarding template. You have 5 milestones here. And notice that there's no assignees to any of these tasks. Now, you can assign somebody to a task within the template, but you don't have to. It's pretty common that you don't assign people to tasks and templates. You want to assign at the time the project is actually created. So there's no assignees, but however, notice that I have these task tags. I have 2 of them. There's the blue tag that says TAM on it, these various tasks, and then there's a green tag that says CSM. So what I would like to do is automatically assign these tasks based upon a field in HubSpot to the appropriate person. And let me show you over in HubSpot how we do that. So I've got a deal here, and it's currently in contract sent stage. So like, let's move it over to close one. So when I move it to close one, that's going to trigger the integration to create a project in GUIDEcx. And then notice also that like in the pipeline says sales pipeline, deal type, new business. So you could be very selective and say, I only want to create a project if the deal type is new business, not existing business, that kind of thing. And then also, if I take a look over here at the company, here's where I have to find that TAM in the CSM, so that we know what those people are that we want to assign. So let's come back over to the projects. And okay, so there's the project that's been created. And okay, so initially there's nobody assigned. So we have a project with that template. There's no assignees, but we should start seeing here in a few seconds. There we go. Okay, so now the recipe's read those fields off the company and is automatically making the assignments to the different tasks based upon what who the TSM and CSM and TAM were specified on the company in HubSpot. Also notice that we have some customer tasks here. So if we come over to the team tab, the recipe has automatically invited a customer team member that it read off of the deal. And it has bulk assigned all the customer tasks to that person. And I'll show on the deal how that's done. And then finally, what the recipe is doing here at the very end, it's assigning all of the remaining tasks to the project manager. So there we have, we just did like 4 different types of automated task assignment. We invited a customer user, auto assign them all of the tasks, and then we invited 2 internal users and assigned them based upon tags. And then finally, anything left, we assigned any remaining tasks over to the project manager. So then also recall we were talking about custom fields. So here's the GUIDEcx custom fields that I have specified. And we've read these values out of HubSpot, and we're automatically applying them to the project. So you don't have to go and manually do all that. Okay, so we've done like the initial setup steps that we might normally have to do. But then let's take a look at how we can sync some data back over to HubSpot. So first off, I'll just going to mark a task done here just so you can see how we sync data back over to HubSpot. Okay, so I'm back in HubSpot at the deal. Notice over here on the right, this says GUIDEcx project status. And right now it just says 0 and it's blank, but I'm going to refresh my HubSpot environment. And then notice that now that there's a project in HubSpot, we have this project car over here, and it's showing the current status of the project. So status is on time. It started today. It also has a forecasted end date, and it says 8% of the tasks are complete. So I marked that one task done. And so we're syncing back this in real time, so that as somebody that lives in HubSpot, they don't have to go necessarily over to GUIDEcx and see status. They can just look at the overall status in HubSpot. And then if I look at here at the company, so notice I have this field right here, onboarding status. And this is a custom field that I've added to the company object in HubSpot. And that's going to tell anybody that lives in HubSpot some more information about how far along the onboarding is. So, for example, if I come back over in HubSpot, let's say that I've defined, in our company, what we like to do is every milestone that's completed, we like to update that field, that onboarding status field, and let everybody know that lives in HubSpot how far along the project is. So if I come back over into the company here, so right now that onboarding status is blank, but if I just refresh here in HubSpot, we can see now it says pre-sales complete. So I've set up a simple little recipe to detect when each milestone in GUIDEcx is completed, and then go and write some value over to HubSpot to let the team know how far along we are in the project. So in other words, you can just kind of customize this to your own needs. And then remember earlier, we had read these two people, the TAM and CSM, in order to auto-assign project tasks. Well, you could even do that after the project's created. So I'm going to change the TAM. Let's say that the first person is going on vacation. So I'm going to change that. And then if I come back over into the project, what we'll see is these blue tags. All those tasks are going to automatically reassign after a few seconds, and there it goes. So we have now the ability to define roles in HubSpot, assign tasks, and then even later update. And then like if I, to show that once again, that I'm syncing status back over into HubSpot about the milestones, like let's say I mark the last task of this milestone done. It says project kickoff. And if I come back over here, then I should see that now it says kickoff complete. Okay, so let's talk about how we invited the customers. So I pointed out how we invited and assigned tasks to internal users by creating these two fields in HubSpot. But also, it's very common in HubSpot to have contacts on a deal. So here on this deal, I have two contacts. And if you'd like, we can automatically invite those users, those are your customers, we can invite them to the project as customer users. But you have a couple of options. What do you want to invite every contact on the deal, or do you want to be more selective? And often you may have 10 customers that are contacts on the deal, but I only want to invite a couple of them. So HubSpot has a feature called association labels. And if you look here, I've added a association label called invite to GUIDEcx project to this one contact. But I have not added that association label to this contact. And if I came in here and I wanted to add another contact, I could pick here, and then I could say, oh, I want to add that association label that I've set up in HubSpot. And now I've added another contact and specify that I want to invite them. So if you recall, we invited one customer to the project, and that customer was the one customer that we had put that association label on in HubSpot. And so we can be very selective. We can invite all the contacts on the deal. We can invite just one, whatever you like. And then let me show you another feature that we put into the integration. Let's say you add notes on a project. So I can come along here and I can say, hi, everyone. The project is on track. Okay, and so if I add that note to the project, so we can have that sync over to the deal. We can have it sync over to the company. So I come over here and to the deal, then I can say right there it is. So we just synced the notes over to the deal in this case. And we could even sync the notes over to like a contact. So if your customer adds a note to the project, we could sync that over to the actual contact record. So you bring up that particular contact, and you would see here in the activities, you'd see all the notes and related to that particular contact every time they had chatted in. So there's a lot of different options you have, and it's kind of only limited to your own imagination in some ways. But if you can basically write down the type of things that you would normally do to create the project and configure it, and then like the information is available in HubSpot to make those kind of customized decisions. If you can write that down on a sheet of paper, then we should be able to automate that over in the project. So any initial questions about what we have done there?
Jeff, I just think one of the questions is you've showed quite a few customizations. So how much of this is out of the box and how much of this is building those customizations?
Mm-hmm. So what we have a reference recipe builder that kind of represents the common things that people like to do when to automate project creation. So the typical scenario is that you can download that reference recipe, and you can see that it has in it most of the actions that I just showed here. But
Mhm.
typically we'll have a working session call. We get on the phone for about an hour and we customize it for you. So like, um, there's uh, with just about an hour of work, most of what we showed here, it can be automated. Now, something so the typical things that are just kind of like out of the box and like very easy to set up with 10 minutes of time kind of thing is create the project, pick the appropriate templates, pick who the project manager is, and then that's syncing back to HubSpot. So if I mark tasks done and then I come back over to the deal, then this status right here is just that just comes from making the connection from HubSpot into GUIDEcx and to and having a recipe create the project. You just get this constant syncing of this information back to the deal. But then the other items that I showed, like syncing this custom onboarding status. So that was to do that. The HubSpot admin just has to create a property in HubSpot, and then the recipe to actually sync this is like 5 lines long, and we have example to show how to do it.
Perfect. Thanks for clarifying that. So users can find kind of that out of the box recipe that we've built within the community in the integration builder. Is that correct? And then just can enhance or customize through a working session with you and the team.
Yep, yep.
Perfect.
And so I'll go through like the initial steps of how you would do this sort of integration. You have to first just connect HubSpot and GUIDEcx, and you do this in 2 places. If you're in GUIDEcx, you go to the integrations tab, you click on HubSpot, and you enter your admin credentials. And then you go into Recipe Builder, and then just add a HubSpot connection. And you click on it and enter your HubSpot admin credentials. And then you have the connect. That's a one-time thing you do. And then you have the ability to have multiple recipes communicate with HubSpot. So a natural question would be like, okay, how can you set all this up on your own? You'll need to do those initial 2 connections I showed on the past slide, but we're here to help. And I mentioned that if we set up a working session with one of our technical solutions managers like myself, then typically in about an hour, we can configure a recipe and test it live with by taking a deal, move a close one, that kind of thing, and test it and see it creating projects. So the only thing that really you need to do in advance is make those 2 connections, but also here's some things to think about before a working session like that. So I mentioned that we can automatically pick the templates when we create the project. Well, okay, how would you go about deciding what templates that need to be on the project? So think about that in advance. For example, we can read all the line items off of a deal. So if there was a product line item X on a deal, then would you want to add template 1 of the project? But if there's a product line item Y on the deal, you want to add templates 2 and 3. So, kind of write that decision logic down. And then like where does that information live? Like, we use the SKU field on the line items on the deal. Okay, so just kind of plan that out. And then the same question would be for the project manager. Is there a field in HubSpot that we can read and then we know who the project manager should be? And then there's concept of custom fields. So think about any custom fields you want in GUIDEcx, and then where the data lives in HubSpot that we can pull from. And then finally, I showed how you can invite customers, and you can invite them in a couple of different ways. So, okay, when you invite customers to the project, do you make them contacts? Do you want to use that association label sort of feature so you can be selective? So if you just kind of think through these things in advance, then we get on a working session call, and typically it takes about an hour to configure the recipe based upon what you've decided and do some tests.
That was perfect, Jeff. Thank you so much for walking through this setup guide. There is so much value in this integration. I know I've actually talked to quite a few customers who are already using the HubSpot integration and have customized the recipe further to kind of match what they're doing in their business. And what I hear over and over again is just how much time it's saved them. So thank you to the team, to you for setting this up and really making it work for our customers. If anyone has any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Jeff or myself. We'd love to help you get this set up for your team. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll talk to you later.
Fantastic. Thank you.